and gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk with Saieed Ali. I am your host, Saieed. We do want to thank you for joining us tonight, viewers. So, as you join us tonight, spread the word. Hundreds of residents were stranded while several were evacuated after floodwaters rose in several parts of South Trinidad following torrential showers today. Now, viewers, you are viewing Real Talk with Saieed Ali. We are live on Synergy Network from Monday to Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. and a rerun the next day from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Remember that. So, we are on Facebook, Real Talk with Saieed Ali. We are on YouTube, it's TT Real Talk. Subscribe, viewers. Hit the bell so you will know when we go live. Please, every night I encourage you to share our live stream so friends and family, local, regional, and international will know about the #1 current affairs program in Trinidad and Tobago. Remember, viewers, also Real Talk is offering you 4% on fixed deposit. Remember that the highest interest rate that is being paid in Trinidad and Tobago presently, no other financial institution is paying more interest than Real Talk. Remember, we do business local, regional, and international also. So, South Trinidad is currently under an orange level ravine flood alert, with several communities in Pinal, Debe, Woodland, and Barapo among the worst hit. The South Oropouche River was among several rivers to burst and breach their banks, gushing water into the streets and into residents' properties in several communities. Oropouche West MP Dave Tanku said it's one of the worst flooding expected in the areas for years. He said people's homes were under 3 and 4 feet of water and still rising, while hundreds of residents are stranded. Several businesses, schools remain closed presently. In Williamville, several areas including Kent Street and Webb Street were under flood water. On Sunday, residents are bracing for another flooding. So viewers, Trinidad and Tobago in some parts, we are under heavy flood water. It's been a busy weekend. It's been a busy day for citizens throughout Trinidad and Tobago. There were lots of accidents also. Remember, we are in the rainy season, viewers, so take note of that. This is something that we as citizens expect. When rainy season comes in, there's going to be a large amount of water flow in our countries. Now, if the riverbanks and the river courses are not clean as supposed to, or they are not clean in the proper way, we're going to end up with problems. We're going to end up with problems, especially if there's a spring tide also in effect. It's chaos. It is chaos. So those of you who are in the flood area, just be alert for the water. There are all sorts of insects in the water. The EMO also released, I believe, be careful of flooding in certain areas. Remember that, viewers, the flood water can be very dangerous. We don't know what type of objects, what type of animal, what type of bacteria is in the water. So be very careful. Moving along now. A recently established regional crime gun intelligence unit headquarters in TNT to train officials will be among the beneficiaries of an investment of more than $100 million by the government of the United States that will be used to crack down and tackle on weapon trafficking and to alleviate Haitian humanitarian crisis and support climate change initiative. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris announced the investment as she embarked on an official trip to the Bahamas.
Through the U.S. law enforcement agencies, we are supporting a recently established Caribbean crime gun intelligence unit in Trinidad and Tobago. to train officials in firearms investigations and help bring criminals to justice. And we will stand up a Haiti transnational criminal investigative unit in collaboration with the Haitian National Police to facilitate investigation and prosecution of firearms and human trafficking, which affects the entire region.
Now, viewers, the base of this will be in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, Harris stated that many persons are dying from gun violence, and the U.S. Justice Department will appoint a coordinator for the Caribbean firearm prosecution to oversee cases involving illegal weapon smuggling in the Caribbean, where there has been a rise in violent crime.
On the issue of security, too many people in all of our countries are dying from gun violence. I will reiterate that our administration is committed to disrupt gun trafficking. We are committed to interdict shipments of arms and ammunition and hold traffickers accountable. And today I am pleased to announce that the United States Department of Justice will create a new position, a coordinator for Caribbean firearms prosecutions, which will help maximize information sharing between our countries to support the prosecution of traffickers. This effort will be aided by the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which President Biden signed last year, and includes new federal criminal offenses for firearms trafficking and straw purchases.
She said, also expect to invest $20 million to help Caribbean businesses that use technologies related to renewable energy and energy efficiency. So and another $15 million will also be used to boost energy response and preparedness across the region. So viewers, in the coming weeks, coming months, we're going to update you on this breaking story when we get more. Moving along, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has stated that during recent talks with the United States, he informed them that TNT was suffering from collateral damage from U.S. sanctions against Venezuela. He is now encouraging business people to see Eastern Venezuela as a market for their goods and services as part of their Dragon gas deal. Making statements as part of his remarks on TNT hydrocarbon deal, the PM stated that TNT raw material are not as well as they used to be, and it is a responsibility of the government to focus on the discovery of new gas through arrangement. I'll listen to this.
And just simply drawing your attention to the fact that the raw material that kept us humming is not as available as it used to be. And therefore, the responsibility of the government of Trinidad and Tobago to focus on the possibilities of new gas is a priority and has been a priority for this government. And as your Prime Minister, I have made that my #1 focus. And that is why from day one, I opened and led communications with Venezuela, which is our neighbor, friendly neighbor, cooperating neighbor, which has huge volumes of gas, surplus gas, which we can obtain through arrangements, commercial arrangements, so as to keep ourselves in a business that we know well.
So remember, viewers, Venezuela is on a sanction from the United States. Any country does business with Venezuela, they may or may not be under sanction from the United States also. This sanction has been going on for some time now. Now the US did give Trinidad and Tobago, I believe it was a 2 years time frame, considering the Dragon gas and Venezuela. Is the Prime Minister bringing up this issue to ask the US government to remove the sanction from Venezuela so that we could do business with Venezuela. Because I will tell you something, a gas deal is a big deal. And if they are under sanction and we cannot pay Venezuela with money, it would affect us. It would affect Venezuela. Because I can tell you something, there's something they call kickbacks. It's a very serious thing, you know. Kickbacks is a very serious thing. Trade is a very serious thing. So we're going to follow this story and see what comes out of this. Because I know the government of the day, they would be very, very eager to do business with Venezuela. That I know. So waiting on them. Now, Parson said, the manufacturers often face difficulties in getting payment from Venezuela. However, Rowley added that the solution could be put in place. Payment and escrow arrangement is either they do it bilaterally or internationally as it is done worldwide. Worldwide. Hey, let me tell you something. The present government is going to do everything in its power to try and do business with Venezuela. Just because of that dragon gas business. That deal. That sanction that the US has on them. It's crippling. It's crippling. It's crippling, viewers. So, listen to this. You're going to love this.
I should tell you now that Trinidad and Tobago is suffering from collateral damage of United States foreign policy on Venezuela. As a result of that policy, we have been deprived of commercial access to significantly available volumes of gas. We're still working on it. We're still talking about it. The first hurdle was crossed when we got the Americans to agree to give us an OFAC license. It involved Minister Young traveling to Washington at my instructions and guidance probably 8 times, and myself 3 or 4 times. We've met virtually everybody who's involved in the government of the United States and on the other side as well. We finally got an OFAC license. But the license has a condition on it, which the Venezuelans find unacceptable. We're working on that too. Hopefully, we can cross those hurdles to get to the point where the operation with the field would become not just possible, but actioned.
So Trinidad and Tobago, we are going for a short commercial break, but keep in mind, the government is going to try to do everything in its power for the US to lift that sanction on Venezuela so we can do business with them. Let me tell you something, it's not really trading, you know, but it's more about the oil. Keep in mind, the Petrotrin board could not have managed Petrotrin. And the birth of a new oil company, Heritage Petroleum, were birthed right here. They took over the work of Petrotrin. Petrotrin board couldn't do it, but Heritage board doing it. So now we want to go Venezuela now. Imagine that, eh? After this break, we're going to hear the PM talk. Petrotrin restructuring was best decision for T&T. After this.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Realtalk Group of Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Realtalk Group of Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
Do you have a public concern you would like to highlight? You can email your pictures and videos to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com, and we will highlight your concerns on our show for Public Concerns Wednesday.
So remember, viewers, it's 4% at Real Talk offering you on, let's say, a fixed deposit. So here it is. Electricity bill is set to go up. Water bill is set to go up. All your internet and phone lines bill is set to go up within 2 months, 3 months from now. It's good. Property tax has been right around the corner before it comes into effect. So what you're going to need? You're going to need extra cash. Extra cash you're going to need when these utilities come into effect. Where are you going to get that extra cash? So at Real Talk, we offer you 4% on a fixed deposit for 5 years. I love to elaborate on this. 4% mean if you have $100,000 put down in a bank somewhere and you're getting 0.05%, is that going to add to your yearly bill? No, it's not. So what you can do, pop your phone numbers. So what you can do, viewers, is these numbers that will be on screen. It's Real Talk phone lines. Contact these numbers. Tell them you want to speak to Saeed concerning the 4% on a fix at our company. Remember that, viewers. You're going to need extra cash. So now, at the end of 1 year, on $100,000, it's $4,000. And this is money now that you have put aside for rainy days. This is money that you say, you know what, I'm not going to touch this. But at the end of 12 months, your interest is going to be $4,000. That $4,000 is going to cover your property tax. You never thought about it like that, eh? It's going to cover your property tax. So you wouldn't have to dip in your pocket. Your phone bill, you could manage. Your grocery bill, you could stop buying things that you don't need. Things that you put in the fridge and put in the cupboard and forget it there. You could stop that. You could manage that. But property tax, now you have to dip in your pocket. You can't say, well, you're going to pay that next month. No. There's a penalty too for that. So the $4,000 or $100,000 could pay your property tax at the end of 12 months. Think about it like that. So you're getting an extra income just to pay your property tax. On money that you have already saved and put away. You think 0.05% going to help you? No, that's not going to help you. The 4% on your fix is going to help you. So as we move along tonight, Prime Minister Dr. Kirol have stated that it was not easy to make the decision to shut down and restructure the Petrotrin refinery. All they had to do was to change the board. That's all they had to do. Heritage Petroleum is doing it presently. Am I wrong? How could you say I am wrong when there are facts in front of you? They said the board was the problem. The board was the problem. Buying gas, buying diesel, buying crude, that was the problem. But how Heritage doing it? How Heritage doing it? So Heritage could do it, but Petrotrin can't do it. He stated that decision was painful, however, workers were paid off in a total sum of $2.7 billion Listen to this.
I must tell you, it was not easy to take the decision to shut down the refinery and to restructure Petrotrin. Politically, it was so easy for everybody to say, oh Lord, they're going to lose the election. Why? Because we had to make a decision that was difficult, was painful. We ameliorated the pain by paying the workers $2.7 billion. So don't get the impression that they went home empty-handed because the owner of the business shut it down. Significant monies went into the hands of those who were in that business.
So now, viewers, what about the medical plan that was under Petrotrin? Did the workers receive anything for that? Because they have contributed to a medical plan for themselves and their family. What about the medical plan payments? Former Petrotrin workers, they are inquiring about that. But is anybody telling me anything about that? No, nobody's not saying anything. Why? Why nobody's not saying anything? That is a medical plan have been paid for years by the workers. Dr. Ali also noted that restructuring Petrotrin was the only move to save TNT from the consequences of poor decision making and the downgrade of the TNT currency. All you hear that? They didn't restructure, they shut it down. They shut it down. Heritage Petroleum is the birth of Petrotrin. I lie, sideline. Where Petrotrin gone? Before Heritage, we heard Petrotrin. We never heard anything about Heritage. It was only Petrotrin. The PM said we restructure Petrotrin and Heritage birth. You see, I will tell you something. There's something that we Trini call a twist of tongue. A twist of tongue. It was a painful decision. Oh God, it's paining to lose all these workers. Lord, it's paining. But Heritage right around the corner Burton while you say it's paining, Heritage Burton. I will tell you something. Fools in Trinidad would listen and grab anything and sell it back for what? A profit of nothing. A profit of nothing. But somebody like me who have info on it will let you know it for free. Oh, you think it's free? No, it's not. It is costing me to let you know that. So why they didn't restructure the board at Petrotrin and forget about Heritage? Huh? $2.7 billion. Restructure everything. Forget Heritage Petroleum. But you know what? We can't forget them. We can't forget them. Because they are the ones that was going to overtake. Ooh, overtake who? Petrotrin. All here we talking about that. All here we have a buyer for the steel mill now. Who's related to who? Why did they ban scrap iron? Let's say something. Say something. Let's talk now. Talk now. Doodly 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 doo doo doo. You know, I love that. When a bird whistling, it is whistling, you know. Who is related to who for that company to inherit the steel mill? Doodly 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 doo doo doo. Somebody say something. Somebody say side, you know what you're saying. Really? Prime Minister, he said that the finance minister had to get resources in the sum of $850 million to repay borrowing that was done by the company. So listen to this now.
And of course, in restructuring it, we saved ourselves a downgrade and possibly a huge devaluation of our currency. Because August 2018, the Minister of Finance had to find a check for $850 million US, because that was the bullet payment that was required to be made for all the borrowing that Petrotrin did before. Borrowing done by a state company, which the Minister of Finance was liable for.
The Minister of Finance, he said, had to find 850 million US. They saved the country. What? Paula, good night.
Good night, Saieed.
Go right ahead, you're live, my friend.
I was saying about this flooding since the last flood they had. You know what? We have flooding again, and it is the same reoccurrence. People crying out for the rivers to be dredged, clean, distilled. Rohan said there was an aggressive drive to distill river. Which river is he really talking about? Which river have they cleansed? Look at the people, how people are suffering, sir. So why is it that, so much money is being, people are paying their taxes and all these kind of things? Where is that money going, sir? And secondly, sir, you know what is very, very disturbing? Remember this little child that had the Zika virus? You know they won that case, and this government, this heartless government, find it fit to appeal that matter. A little child suffering with Zika.
Yeah.
And you are going to appeal that, sir? Isn't that disgraceful? They did not appeal the Petrotrin based on legal advice in your council. They did not appeal the Malcolm James case. Why is it you're appealing to a little baby? This is a little infant. This is a little child. This is a sick child. Instead, we're a government supposed to, give the family some assistance. You know what that appeal is about? To give the newly minted senior council and their money in their pockets, sir. So why is the government now on property tax before they go and clean people's drain? And if you have persistent rain again, what is being done, sir? Look at the flood in the bamboo the other day. Do you know the cause? They said the mouth, the river mouth, the Caroni River mouth was not clean. And so, up to now that is still not clean. So what is this government doing? So it is local election. I'm calling on the citizenry. Now is the time to show them because of their non-performance. What is it they're really doing, sir? What is it they're doing with our money, sir? Now look, they said, all over, this money gone from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. Them say that is rubbish. Anything come to the fore when they're not performing, they're always criticizing it. So it is time now, citizens, it is time to show the government that it's time to put on your foot now, because the government does not care. All they're concerned about, and they are propagating now this property tax amidst all this flood. It is time this government to demit. I think they should do the honorable thing and just go. Don't wait for people to vote them out. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, my friend. So viewers, the PM stated that had TNT done what other government had done and was unable to service their debits or their debts, TNT would have ended up in an IMF program. He also added that the state-owned company, by extension TNT, is in a much better place because of the decision. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? It's your call. Moving along with Prime Minister also, he claimed, the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, has claimed that one of the biggest challenges the law enforcement agency faces in fighting crime comes from the families of criminals. No, man. No, don't say that. Don't say that. We have 1.4 million people in Trinidad and Tobago. 1.4 million. A handful to Venezuela. A handful to Canada. A handful to the United States. He stated that TNT has many problems not the least of which is a crime and criminality on a daily basis. You see, what the justice system is not doing in Trinidad and Tobago is setting examples. We got half of Trinidad and Tobago police service and intelligence unit looking for a damn blasted telephone. No, wait, with my cell phone. They were looking for a cell phone belonging to the son of a minister. Half of Trinidad and Tobago police service. We have about, let's say, about 7,000 officers. Technically, 3,500 of them were looking for a bloody hell cell phone that belongs to a son. The son belongs to a minister. And you talking about we can't fix crime? If that same intelligence and that same effort that were made to find that damn cell phone of the son of a minister, if that same effort were placed into hot spots, let me tell you something, all them hot spots would have been cold spots. Cold spot. But we more focused on a bloody hell cell phone than hot spots. We had a minister, not a minister, commissioner of police, who were very effective, but they had a problem with that. They had a problem with a former commissioner of police, Gary Griffith, who was much effective in fixing Trinidad and Tobago concerning crime. They said TDPS is an independent body. Well, that body will function proper under Gary Griffith, a former commissioner of police. We have a woman here. We have a woman who has been selected. She's at her retirement age of TDPS. Well done. Well done to those who selected a 60-year-old woman to govern TPPS. How do we call her? We call her the newly appointed Commissioner of Police. A woman who God could call anytime. A woman whose body's run down. You can't come out on the streets let people see you. How you rate yourself? As excellence. When they ask her, so can you tell us what caused the crime strategy plan that you had to become not effective? She couldn't answer. She couldn't answer. And for 60 years, let us say 40 years doing TTPS. You cannot answer. But when they had an effective individual conducting raids, let me tell you something. TTPS officers had to be on their foot, not on their butts. That was a problem to those in authority. The Prime Minister said it was a disgrace. It was a big mistake I make. So who making the mistake now, PM? Who making it? Is the 60-year-old Commissioner of Police we have effective? Is she effective? If we don't have a proper principal in a school, could the teachers function properly? Could the school function properly with a non-effective principal? Could that happen? If we do not have a good driver sit down, steering a vehicle, do you think that vehicle could be on the highway without getting into an accident? No. Oh, Saieed, you're talking nonsense. Really? Call her good night.
Good night, Saieed.
Go right ahead, you're live.
Listeners on this rainy day, this is the imitation vaccine vagrant. I want to start first with the Prime Minister and Petrotrin when he said the state had to basically cover the borrowing of a previous state organizing Petrotrin. So who was in control of that board? Not the PNM? So what are you talking about? when another administration tried to sort them out and it went to court, and he pull out the case and he say it was a business decision, and the amount of money they wasted on that. You know, we have the same thing too with the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. They lose 900 and something million US.
Yes.
Equivalent to 67 thing. I hope he doesn't say that is a bad business decision too.
No, Kamla make that decision, he might say.
You understand? For them, because the person who is the manager of that board, the chairman of that board, was the former central bank governor, you know. And you remember in the Clico report, if I could remember, there's a lot of allegation of people in the central bank who allowed Clico to go all over the place. You remember a bank called CIB collapsed because of mismanagement, and that was under the supervision of the central bank.
Thank you, my friend. Like he dropped there. He dropped? Anyhow. So, while he could not predict, the Prime Minister, while he could not predict when the next crime will be committed or who the next victim will be, Rowley stated that every time somebody has been killed, his spirit sickens or it sinks a bit lower. Oh, now listen to the Prime Minister.
But the bottom line is, the law-abiding has to fight as one army against the many armies of the criminals. Take a side. Choose. If you know something, say something to the police. We have 10,000 police officers in the country, 1.4 million people. We cannot police every... We have very many problems in this country, not the least of which is the crime and criminality that is on us on a daily basis. I don't know who's going to commit the next crime. I don't know who will be the next victim, but what I do know is that every time I hear that somebody has been killed, my spirit sinks a bit lower in this country because every life is valuable.
Trinidad and Tobago, who was the individual who came out and said they went to the president concerning the selection of a commissioner of police? Who was the person? Let's say something. Is that same individual saying now that he sinks lower when he heard somebody die or somebody got killed? Really? Hey, one thing I got to tell you, Trinidad and Tobago, you see the mouth? The mouth they had to pay no tax. The mouth had to pay no tax. The mouth could say anything when you're in possession and you go get away with it. Correct? Yes, I am correct. What did he say? Gary was a who? A bad decision? The worst mistake? An effective commissioner of police we had in Trinidad and Tobago was getting a grip on crime. The underworld started to shake. But an individual went to the president considering the selection, and a former commissioner could not be re-elected. So presently we have one now that is doing a good job. Is doing a good job. We don't hear her, we don't see her, she can't answer properly. She's very effective. She's very effective in getting nothing done. Who vex loss? The PM said he is opposed to anyone who arms criminal and profit from their action, and claim that people who know the most about crime are the ones who are keeping mouths silent. Rowley added that the person who knows the criminal best are their families who are running interference for those criminal. Wait. And recently we had some minister daughter get caught up with some big drug thing. Daughter or stepdaughter or something. Stepdaughter. What become of that? We don't hear nothing about that. We don't even hear the media saying, well, you know, on June 5th was the case of so and so. Where that gone? You feel like afraid to open my mouth? No, I'm afraid to open my mouth. If there's a gun block and cocaine and marijuana prostitution taking place in a community and there's a police station there, who's responsible side? If we know something, say something when all you're wearing the blue uniform and have license to kill and all you know where the house there, all you know who's the man selling drugs, all you know who's the man doing prostitution, you still telling me now if I see something, say something? So then TDP is blind. The 7,000 police that the Prime Minister is talking about, they're blind. Let me tell you something, Let me tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago. People who in authority, they could say anything, you know. Yap. You know what? Next 5 years, they're going back right there. You know why? We bought a bag of what thing? How we call it? Cat in bag. That is what we bought. Caller, good night.
Good night, Saeed.
Go right ahead, you're live, my friend.
Yes. One of your callers just talk about the loss in the stabilization fund, and then after that he talk about drainage of the river. Mm-hmm. So I sit down here, and if I tell you the way how the government handled the first one with Petrotrin, they shut it down. I wonder now if they're going to shut down Central Bank too.
Oh God.
But them fellas, anything possible with them, you know?
True. No lie.
Right? So wake up one day and Central Bank closed down. So the next thing is with the dredging of the river. What I want to tell you is that Trinidad has no equipment that could clear the mouth of any of these rivers.
Open.
The Carney River is silted up from about 2.4 kilometers, 2.5 kilometers out at sea. So what you need is a dredger that is of the scale and scope of what they use for like doing work in Point Lisas and so the private industries. Mm-hmm. You have to get a dredger like that to dredge that river mouth coming in about 200 feet wide and about 40 feet deep. So it will give you about 3 years service before it is silted up back. Now, that was done already one time by and the agent for it, the agent for the dredger was TrackMap. And if anybody wants verification, TrackMap will have records for it. Mm. When the dredger reached from out in the sea to the coastline, the dredger got stuck because there was a submarine net at the mouth of the Carney River. Mm. Now, what will a submarine net be doing at the mouth of the Carney River if it wasn't that massive? If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Right? So the submarine net was removed, and then the dredger could continue into the Carney River. And the work continued, taking out. One of the serious bends only came out, but the work stopped because the UNC government lost election and PNM took over, and then the work was stopped. But you can't send no Mickey Mouse excavator to shape up the sides of the bank and so to do that work. You have to have massive equipment that go inside there. Like from people like Boscalis, Jande Noor, dredging companies from America. But America has laws on dredging that make it hard to send a company from the US into here. So you have to get the companies like that to clear that. And the thing is, if you bring in a dredger to do the work, right, the mobilization fee is kind of a high cost too.
Yes, it is.
But sometimes in Point Lisas, the companies there, they have to do the dredging and maintenance of the navigation channel. Now, remember, all the rivers flow from east to west.
Correct.
Right? And the navigation channel, you have to dredge coming into the navigation channel from out at sea. And the tidal circulation is from north to south, south to north. So you have to dredge coming in to clear the navigation channel. Now the point is, when Point Lisa is doing navigation, they could piggyback on one of that to get the dredger with the mobilization cost offset or reduced to come and set up in the Caroni River to clear the river mouth. And if that is not done, there's no way, there's no solution to clear that river mouth. Nobody could clear that river mouth with Mickey Mouse, them small excavators that see clearing canal and things. It cannot. It simply cannot do it. So that is my conclusion this evening.
Thank you, my friend. Well said. So viewers, according to Rowley, families who are running interference for criminals. Listen to this.
But the bottom line is, the law-abiding has to fight as one army against the many armies of the criminals. Take a side. Choose. If you know something, say something to the police. We have 10,000 police officers in the country, 1.4 million people. We cannot police every person. We can't police every house. Usually the police responds after something has happened. Nobody could read your mind that you are the person with the gun in your pocket and the trip you're making now is to go and kill somebody. And the people who know that most are the ones who are keeping most silent. And I regret to say this. The people who know the criminals the best are the criminals' families. And many of them are running interference for those criminals.
It's sad to say that Farrell's knew down on the Western Peninsula, the Maximan, the boat that bring them in, who harboring the Venezuelans, and who feeding them food. You know the apartment owner, you know the boat owner, you know the maxi driver and the taxi driver, but all they know the criminals. No problem. All they know how much gang it have, all they know who running gangs, all they know how much member it have in gangs, but all they can't deal with gang. It's sad, you know. It's really sad. So when I hear people like them go up on a platform and start to talk rah, 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 it has amazed me. It does amaze me. The normal citizen, to Mr. Rowley, the normal law-abiding citizens know who is the ganja dealer and the cocaine dealer and the gun smuggler in the community, but the TDPS who have a station there, none of the officers don't know the guy. It's sad, you know. It's really, really sad, Mr. Rowley. Seeing that you are the head of the Security Council for Trinidad and Tobago, up on a platform making those lousy, foolish statements. It's really, really sad. He placed the opposition UNC in the category. He added that the UNC only knows solution to reducing crime was fire Faris Al-Rawi, fire Stuart Young, fire Fitzgerald Hines. I'll listen to this.
But the bottom line is the country has a task. Officers have a task to protect and to serve. And the cabinet has a responsibility. And the minister has a responsibility. And shouting at me every day, fire Stuart, fire Stuart, fire Faris, fire Faris, fire Hines, fire Hines. That is not a program. Understand? Not a program. A program is that you analyze the problem, you identify a new course, or you convince yourself to stay the course, you provide resources, you get stronger, and then you get success. We are fighting the criminal element. We are relentless in treating with the criminal element. We trust the judiciary to understand that. We trust the teachers to understand that, the parents to understand that, the police to understand that. We are all in this together. All in this together.
We all in this together. We all have bodyguards that move around with us. We all drive in government vehicles that we know how to pay to put gas. We all could fly out of Trinidad at any point in time, meaning we don't have to spend any money. We all in that? No, we're not all in that. Gary Griffith was an effective commissioner of police. They fired that. They fired that. We have a Minister of National Security, Fitzgerald Hines, saying it's not my job to make Trinidad and Tobago feel safe, but he blaming everybody. Imagine that. Call a good night.
Good night, Mr. Saeed. Great program as usual and fiery tonight, man. Mr. Saeed, this man put a spin on every single thing.
Correct.
This Rowley man. He feels he's the best PR man this country has seen and the Caribbean has seen. He put a spin on everything. He and Hines and the cabinet legalized the smoking of marijuana, right? Without giving it, serious thought. So you have police officer, you have army, everybody. I want to know, he said it, that guns go with drugs, right? So we had a Galil gun missing in Tetron, and it go with drugs. I want to know how much soldiers a police officer on duty smoking marijuana and drunk. Because you legalize marijuana, you can't give them no drug test and tell them they're under the influence of drug on the street because you legalize it. It's legal to be drunk. Mr. Said, I want to talk about WPC bully. Who bullied that lady last week? You see flood in Barco area and Pinal area today?
Yes, I saw that video, yes.
She bullied that lady who stood up for the right things in life. Just like you are standing up for the right things in life. She bullied that lady down who was protesting for the roads and drain and all of these kind of things and charged the lady for loud and resisting arrest and all kind of trump up charge. But that WPC, you are disgraced to the uniform. This country, where you living? You're not living in this country. Your mother and father don't drive on the road. Your brother and sisters them don't drive on the road. And hats off to that lady. You're a great woman and keep standing up just like the right-thinking people in this country who want to make this country a better place. You stand up, lady. Great is you for standing up. And Saddam Hussein took up the case. And I know Saddam Hussein is going to embarrass that WPC. They don't have a case, These are easy charges to trump up. Resisting arrest and loud and aggressive. Why you don't go Lavantil? Go Caranaja on the East-West corridor and do that. Okay, WPC? Bully? Mr. Said, great program. You keep it up, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. So, viewers, Minister of National Security, Fitzgerald Hines, had revealed that almost half of this country murder this year were done by gang-related killing. How did he know that? You see, that is my thing. How did Hines know that? Gang-related. If you know a gang is responsible for the killing, where you go do? Where you go do, Hines? Say something, Hines. But then again, Hines, it is not my job to keep Trinidad and Tobago safe. But now you coming out to say about half of the killings by gang-related? He stated that according to the information from the police service, 20 were due to altercation, 6 were attributed to domestic violence, 21 for revenge killing, 21 during robberies, 31 during drug-related killing, and 29 were still without a motive. Listen to our loving Minister of National Security.
In 2023, altercations so far, as of the 31st of May, 20. Domestic violence, 6. I didn't tell you just now, in respect of domestic violence, 33 for 2022. So far, 6 of them. Gang-related so far for the year, 114. Revenge, 21. Robberies, 21. Drug-related, 31. Unknowns, 29. And so far for the year, 242 citizens would have lost, or visitors in some cases would have lost their lives.
How did they get their figures? How did they know? How did they know where gang-related is involved? You got information. John Doe gang kill Henry. Boy, you making joke. TDPS have license. Hey, TDPS have license to kill. Allah cannot combat the gang. But you know, John Doe gang kill Harry. How the hell you know John Doe gang kill Harry? And you can't do nothing to John Doe gang? And you should have been home in your house eating flower pop. You know, a long time they used to make little flower pop and thing and give children to eat. And you supposed to be home eating that presently. How did they get that information that John Doe gang related? How did you know that? How did TDPS officers knew that? Eh? All you have license for gun, they stay on all the waist and look nice. All you following a motor to protect and serve. By what? When Harry get gunned down, and all the information, John Doe gang do kill Harry, what are you doing? All you waiting for crime to knock on all you do? I wonder if a policeman's son get killed in Trinidad by a gang, what TDPS officers going to do? You know what they're going to do? Remember when a minister's son lost their phone? That's what they're going to do. But hear what? Hear what? All I can blame them for saying this. All I can say inciting violence. But things like that start to have to happen in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm telling you. You see those in authority? God should spin around things and always start feeling the pain that innocent citizens feel. Let me tell you something. I am a father. And I am the victim of an almost kidnapping then. When they went after my son, almost kidnapped. I am a victim, I am a father. How do you think I feel? When I hear hands making statements like that, they know it's gang related. You know it's gang related and you do nothing. You coming out in a platform to tell me that, oh Saeed, TDPS were informed that this killing of Harry was gang related. Who ran the gang? John Doe. How much members in John Doe gang? 50. How do they know that? How do they know that? While Harry dead, John Doe and his gang running. Hines, how to call you? Incapable? No, that's not the word. You got to find something more than that. Lackadaisical? No, you got to find something worse than that. Let me tell you something. A minister will bring down a protective service. You see that foolish statement he's been making? TDPS were informed that John Doe gang killed Harry. Really? That's why when you talk, I just label you one time. One time. Let me tell you something. You know, it is really so sad how we all just fly so fast, eh? With proper information coming to all you. It's only I just do that to all you know. So viewers, a rerun of this program is tomorrow from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And hopefully with the grace of God, we'll be right back here on Real Talk platform for another episode of Real Talk with Saieed Ali as we go live. Until we meet again, good night.